the chairperson of the Karnataka Women's Commission, Ms. Manjula, said that this law is nothing new. It's like the same old law, so there is not much change. So since we are not expert in the legal aspect of it, so what is the hope of this? Of course, two of you highlighted a lot, but when it comes to the reality of the situation, so how could the prominent person who makes such remarks? So can you also throw light on that?
When the first part of the question, is the law something new? It's a question we were also trying to look at and see what is really new about the recommendations. Some of what we refer to the issue of custodial rape, the issue of understanding who persons are affected by sexual violence, the issue of consent as well, and the issue of past sexual history. A lot of these issues have been referred to by previous law commission recommendations. So in some ways she's right. And some of these recommendations have been made since 2000, if not earlier. But the point to be made is that the recommendations are made, but the Parliament hasn't acted on them. I mean, which tells you the level of priority granted to these issues. In fact, they did not really move to enact anything. That's one part of it. But still, there are some parts of the recommendations which are completely new. Nobody's ever done that till now. It's quite historic in that sense. Marital rape is absolutely the first time any committee in India has ever recommended that it be criminalized. Then on the entire question of the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, also absolutely the first time we have any committee anywhere in India recommending that that Armed Forces Special Powers Act should be amended. And the question that there needs to be no sanction with respect to prosecuting any public servant for offences of rape and related offences. Again, it's something completely new. That's one part. But I think the question as to what can be done now, you want to address that?
So I would see it a bit differently, in the sense that when Manjula says it, she is actually the chairperson of Karnataka State Commission for Women. And by and large, most people working for women's rights in India agree that National Commission for Women and State Commission, they are useless. Because most of the people get appointed are people like Manjula, political appointees, not based on their expertise or their commitment to women's rights. Otherwise, when the whole Maggie or Mumsy incident happened, it was supporting the people, the young people. She tried to resolve the question, saying that they were immoral. So, in fact, she was not defending at all women's rights. She was not doing her duty. And also, she being from BJP and coming from ADVP background, somewhere actually what the committee is saying, they definitely do not implement it. This is one way of actually sidetracking by saying that there is nothing new. Somewhere it also shows that actually our party is not really interested in the implementation of this recommendations. I would see it a bit differently.
I agree.
It's just a political strategy.
Last through this both the conclusions and the recommendations. I know some of the, I think I know some of the Dalit women organizations also were invited for these conversations. And interestingly enough, in these both the conclusions and recommendations, what we actually see is this universe as women's body, but the difference of experiences are not actually seen to have been noted. Particularly the question of the violence against the Dalit women's body and also the areas where there is armed conflict. So I'm actually wondering if Rama Commission actually has taken a note of those realities. And what would be your take on that?
I'm sure Arvind and Manohar both have something to say, but we were having this discussion actually when the report came out, and it is the biggest lacking area in the report, that there isn't a specific, or well, actually I'll put it this way. In the earlier draft discussions of the bill on sexual assault that was circulating that the government had put out, there was something very specific with regard to Dalit women. It was an aggravated offence, right? If sexual assault was committed by an economically or otherwise more powerful person against a person in dominance, it was an offence and specifically made out in order to cover a whole range of situations, including Dalit and tribal women. That seems to have gone from this report completely as a set of recommendations. So it is certainly one area that is lacking, right? The other thing that I think it does not do specifically is to be able to tie in the provisions of the SC/ST Atrocities Act has related provisions in it with regard to humiliation of women, etc., right, as belonging to a specific caste or tribe. What this report has not and is silent on is to be able to pull in and make comprehensive sets of recommendations, keeping in mind that there is already a statute that takes on board that scheduled caste and scheduled tribe people suffer very specific forms of humiliation, and rape is certainly one of them. I mean, there's no question about that, and it has been reported across the board. So we were actually quite surprised that they didn't have anything specific on it, and that is one of the lacuna in the report. I think what we're hoping is this: the report goes to a standing commission, a standing committee that Parliament will appoint, because the standing committee will look at all the rapes, and I'm certainly hoping that Dalit groups are able to make a very strong recommendation before the standing committee to say that this is one area that is completely ignored in the report as a very specific population that is targeted for very different kinds of reasons in terms of sexual assault. It is a shortcoming of the report for sure.
Don't you think it should become the onus of everybody to point out to this lack?
It has been. I don't think that, I think that several groups were present before the committee, and I certainly think that it became a, I mean, Arvind was there, so he'll be able to tell you a little bit more, but you are talking about disability groups appearing, women's groups appearing, sexuality minority groups appearing, you know, so, I mean, and there were Dalit groups present, and Dalit voices certainly from the south present before the committee, you know. I mean, the report does not dwell on it, it should ought to have dwelt on it, but there will be another round, there will be another shot at getting in something, and that is before the standing committee, and one has to make out a very strong case for some sort of specific attention to be given to, as far as Dalit, both scheduled caste as well as scheduled tribe populations are concerned.
In fact, when the Burma committee met the activists for 2 days, seconded a lot of panels. In fact, we had almost 4 people speaking on the issue. Ruth Manorama was there, Asha Kotwal was there, 2 others were there. Again, we also had a lot of speakers on conflict areas, conflict zones, Adivasi issues, and Gujarat Muslim issues. It has come up. But somehow the report seems to be not capturing it enough, except it mentions other thoughts at one place. But I think that doesn't go enough distance in terms of recommendations. Like we all know that in the last 2 months there have been a lot of rapes of Dalit women in Haryana and done by upper caste men. And in many cases, in spite of court intervention, Supreme Court orders, the victims are not able to go back to their villages. The Supreme Court orders are not getting implemented. That's the problem. And Andaman, what happened, everyone knows. Also in Gujarat, everyone knows what happened to Muslim women. But sometimes I think kind of why the report doesn't focus enough on it. There are some areas where it gets covered. For example, when it comes to gang rape situation, which often happens in these communities, their legislative provisions are there, and in fact, in that case, the rape, even the perpetrator becomes gender neutral. Even the woman, if they are involved in a gang rape, supporting or whatever, can be punished. In that sense, there are some areas where we do get it, but it doesn't come out very clearly as based based on caste, based on religion, based on ethnicity. That doesn't come. And doesn't make a limitation of the report. But again, probably I think what happened is that after the Delhi cabinet situation, there's a lot of debate of gender justice and what it needs to be proven. And in these circumstances, even considering rape of men, rape of transgenders, was a very difficult proposition which somehow the committee has done it. But somewhere when it comes to talking about rape as a crime that happens, gender-based crime, gender plus other powers as well. It can be class, caste, religion. Somewhere in those sections it became weaker. Is it because they wanted to focus more and more on gender alone? That I'm not very sure. Other than the consultation itself had a lot of voices, but it doesn't reflect. Also, we should not forget, also that actually somewhere as Adivasis, as Dalits, as Muslims, as Christians, we have also failed and make our voices heard. All over India when protests happen, we hardly saw any other voices from these communities. It is true when Dalit women get raped, enough noise doesn't get made. It is true that Muslims still will get paid, so much of noise is not made. Today this noise is being made maybe because the woman is upper caste, maybe because she's Hindu, maybe because she's urban middle class. But I think somewhere it would have been strategically also important for our movements to join in the protest. So that yes, when it happens on our women, others don't support, that has to be raised, but we will stand in solidarity when any rape happens on any person. Somewhere I think even as a movement, I think somewhere we have failed to use the opportunity when the whole country is focusing on sexual violence. Somewhere as movements we haven't got enough discourse from Dalit and Adivasi and religious minority movements at this point of time. That's my observation.
I think 3 areas I'd like to highlight very clearly. One is the area of governance.